In this video, we'll talk about ethics in anthropology. These are the ethical standards and principles that guide the behavior of anthropologists when they're in the field.
You anthropologists are to go ahead of the troops and talk to the local villagers. Get as much information as you can, and return to base camp.
I have a question. What is the military going to do with the information we get for you?
That's classified. All I can tell you is that it will be used to help us understand the locals better.
Just so I understand, you're saying that the military could do anything it wants with the information?
That is correct. Your data becomes property of the military.
The anthropologists have no control over what happens to the information they gather on the local people or how it is used. What do you think they should do? Should they continue with their research? Why or why not? This is a very difficult situation for them. If they signed a contract, they are obligated to conduct the research. If that is the case, what do you think they should do?
I don't feel good about this, Mark.
Neither do I. But we have a contract. What should we do?
We have to do the work, but we don't have to ask questions that would provide information that could get the locals killed.
Did you hear that Facebook conducted an experiment on people?
No, I didn't know about it. What kind of an experiment?
Back in 2012, for 1 week, some Facebook users were fed less positive emotional content on their news feed than usual, and others saw less negative emotional stuff. Facebook then tracked what those users posted after they viewed the manipulated news feeds.
That is completely unethical.
What do you mean? It was only an experiment.
What about informed consent? Aren't we supposed to be able to give our consent to be part of an experiment?
What's informed consent?
In anthropology, you tell your research participants the purpose of the research, and risks and benefits to them, so they can make an educated decision whether to participate.
When you sign up for Facebook, don't you agree to let it use your data for analysis, testing, and research?
That may make it legal, but it doesn't make it ethical.
What do you think? Was the Facebook experiment ethical? Why or why not? Why is informed consent so important? Are there times when a researcher might get informed consent after completion of the research?
Professor Umbridge, I'm looking forward to reading your article on your research in the Amazon.
I have no plans to make that information available except to my closest colleagues.
Aren't you even going to share your findings with the people you studied?
Good heavens, no. I don't either want to share the information with them. Most of them can't read anyway.
Aren't you ethically obligated to make your findings available to others, including your research subjects?
Shut up.
Right.
What do you think? Is Professor Umbridge behaving ethically?
Hello Paula. Can I read your notes? What did you write about me? Come on, let me see them.
No Harry, you can't read my notes.
Why not? If you wrote something about me, I have a right to see what you wrote.
No, you don't have that right. You signed a consent form and agreed to take part in this research.
You are going to be sorry if you don't let me read those notes. I will tell my dad, the chief, and he will make you show them to me.
It looks like Paula has a problem. This research participant is trying to intimidate her into letting him read her notes. What should Paula do?
I'm sure your father the chief would like his own privacy protected, and so would everyone else who is mentioned in this notebook. And how would your father react if I were to tell him you tried to threaten me into allowing you to invade everyone's privacy?
I'm sorry Paula. Please let's forget this ever happened.
Good evening, Suli. Beautiful night, isn't it?
Yes, it's lovely, and the moon is very pretty.
Would you like to go out and have a drink with me?
No, my father would not approve.
We don't have to tell him.
He will know. People will see us and tell him. Tongues will wag.
But I think I'm in love with you, Suli.
It looks like the anthropologist has fallen in love with one of his cultural consultants. Is there anything wrong with that? It depends on a few things. Is she old enough, according to her culture's standards, to make a decision about whether to date someone? Or is she considered a minor? She expressed concern about her father finding out. This means the relationship would not be acceptable to her family. In the case of two consenting adults who will not break any cultural taboos by dating, it is within ethical guidelines to have a relationship. However, if there are any impediments, including the age of the person and their marital status, a romantic relationship is unethical and should be avoided.
Okay, Suli. Let's just be friends, if that's okay.
You must also consider that your other participants may find it unprofessional of you to have a romantic relationship with a research participant. In that case, becoming involved with someone could jeopardize your rapport with other participants and make your research difficult. You might not want to risk that.
Yes, we can be friends.
Let's review what we learned about ethics in anthropology. The first ethical principle is to do no harm. That means that your research should not harm anyone in any way. The second principle is to obtain informed consent and permissions. Your participants must understand the research and give consent to participate. The third principle is to make your results accessible to other researchers through publication, and by allowing your participants to see your published work. The fourth principle is to protect and preserve your records, especially when they contain sensitive information that may be traced back to an individual. And finally, maintain respectful and professional relationships with your research participants. I hope you understand these ethical principles and can apply them. Some situations are difficult, but a good rule of thumb is to always follow the first principle: do no harm. A second rule of thumb is to abide by the more restrictive and stringent mores, values, and laws, whether they are those of your own culture or the one you study. For more information, visit the American Anthropological Association's website on your screen.